This video is broken into 3 parts. The first part is our first 2 days with the family. We were there 3 days with the family. We were there for a 3-day initial consultation. We went there, we spent 3 days with the family, understanding the child, getting him to trust us, teaching the family how to do it, coming up with a plan. And then we left the family with that plan. The second video is 2 months later. We came back for a second visit. Now this visit we came back for 2 days. So all the time that has passed, all the teaching that had taken place was done by the parents alone, without our help at all. Only we were available by phone or email for consults if they had questions. Then we come back and we videotape the second part of this, and you can see the changes starting to take place. You can see that mom and dad are now able to control the reinforcement and the SDs and the MOs to the level where he's now starting to at least be willing to sit and participate. His concentration level isn't very good though, and he's not trying as hard as he could be, but he's at least participating. And so we started to tell the parents, okay, now here's what you have to do now. We gave them instructions, we created the program to make it a little bit more complex. When we came back 4 months after that, the family, for whatever reason, I think they might have canceled the visit, but instead of coming every 2 months, we came 4 months later. And then you see after 4 months what the family was able to do with what had turned out to be a total of 3, 4, 5 days of service. By the time we came back, 6 months from when we met them, you'll see the difference in the child and the difference in their life. And this is the kind of thing we do on a regular basis, and this is the kind of thing we see happening child after child. In my workshop 1 that I give, the 2-day workshop, we show 20 different videos with about 20 different kids, and show not only individual things, how we teach them, but also we'll show you how their progress goes from day 1 in the consult to 2 years later, until 3 years later, how their lives change and the things that we're able to do with the principles of behavior. But for now, let's take a look at this video. Give him one for sitting if he sits.
Gut gemacht, super. Hinsetzen, Anton. So ist schön ruhig. Super. Gut, dass ihr so, die können wir auch wegstellen. Können wir extra Salute? Das ist Anton. Vorsicht. Ja, Vorsicht. Setz dich hin. Ja.
Ja, gut gemacht. Genau.
Victor, möchtest du einen Flip? Du, super. Schön ruhig bist du, Anton. Möchtest du noch einen Flip? Erst Flip. Möchtest du einen Flip, Edgar? Darf er das? Möchtest du auch einen Flip?
Now, it's quite obvious to everyone in this room what he wants. He wants the flip, but he wants the flip his way, when he says it, how he says it. In fact, he didn't even want a flip to start with. Flip is the little cheesy thing. Do you guys call them flips here? No? We call them Cheetos or something. Those flips are the little cheesy snacks. Anyway, what he wanted was a candy called a Hanuta. Do you have Hanutas here? No. It's like a cookie, chocolate-covered cookie type candy. And what he really wanted was a Hanuta. This is the Hanuta right here. Now, so we said, okay, well, let's work with him what are the things he likes the most? And he says, well, he loves the Hanutas. That's his favorite thing in the world. Okay, let's get a Hanuta out, and we'll see if we can get him to follow a simple instruction, like sit down or be quiet for just a second for a Hanuta. That's all we were going to do. And so we pulled the Hanuta out, and Mom gave it to me as this big bar like this. They have small ones too, that you can get an individual package, but she gave me this big one, right? So I took the Hanuta and I cracked it, and Mom went, no! I'm like, what? What did I do? Just, oh, now he won't eat it. I thought, what? That doesn't make any sense. He loves Hanuta. It's his favorite thing in the world. Yeah, but if you crack them, he won't eat them. Well, then he doesn't get it, so I don't understand. Well, if you crack it, he won't eat it, then he'll complain, he'll fight, he'll cry, he'll scratch until I give him another one. So anytime we crack one, we end up having to eat it because he won't touch it, we have to give him another one. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. There's no reason. If this is what he wants more than anything, he shouldn't have that much control over the environment. He shouldn't be able to dictate if, how, when, what everyone in the environment does. He has decided that he's going to be in control of everything, and anybody who tries to take any of that control back, he's going to shut down and say, well, I don't care, I don't want your reinforcement anymore. It may be the greatest thing in the world, but I won't have it if you don't do it my way. Because that becomes the most important aspect of it, not just the item. Because he thinks to himself, it's like the same thing we are with a remote control. How many of you guys have TVs with remote controls? If you're tired, you probably go home tonight, you'll sit down, and you'll hit your little button on the remote, and the TV, like, this wonderful stuff will happen, colors and sounds, and it's beautiful, right? Great reinforcement. So you come home one day and then you hit your remote control button, what happens? Nothing. What do? Do you just say, oh, forget that, put it down and go up and turn the TV on? How many of you just put it down and go turn the TV on, first thing? Nobody? Usually there's one person who goes, well, I do. I don't. What I do is I start going, maybe it's a bad angle. Or I start trying this, or I push the button harder, or I start banging it a little bit. Maybe some people say, oh, just go get new batteries. Oh, I won't even do that. I'll open it up and then I'll roll the battery just to see if that'll work. Okay? What I do is the very least amount of work I have to do to get what I want. And that's no different with our kids with autism or anyone else. We're all like this. It's human nature to want to do less work when you don't want to do it. We want to watch TV. I don't want to be chasing batteries. That's not what my plan was. So I'm going to do everything I can. Plus, why would I spend a half hour trying to make this thing work when I could have just walked over in 1 second and pushed that button? It doesn't make sense, does it? You can spend 30 minutes not getting your reinforcement, or you can spend 1 second not getting your reinforcement if you just make a different behavior choice. But why don't we do it? It's the exact same reason he does not be quiet and sit down and touch the table to get a Hanuta. He can do it in 1 second. He can do it absolutely. He understands it. He knows what he'll get. He knows that's what we want. He knows he can get his Hanuta like that. But he won't go up and push the button on the TV. He won't tap the table. Why? Because we know that if I am willing to put that remote down and touch that channel on the TV 1 time, then what I'm doing is I'm saying that I no longer have that available to me, and I'm going to have to get up and touch that TV each and every time I want to change the channel, change the volume, every time I want to use it. So I'm willing to stand fast and strong and hard and do everything I can think of to keep life the way that I want it. Because if I'm willing to make that choice once, I know I'm going to have to make it over and over and over and over again. And that alone changes the balance so that even the Hanuta, which is his very favorite thing in the world, is no longer valuable enough to get him to even just do this to get it, or to tap the table, or make a simple sign. And for kids like that, who refuse even doing the simplest things with help, just to get the thing that they want most, that's exactly what's going on. Is that understanding that if I start to give in some of this control, or if I start to give in on what I have going already, the contract I have written, Mom and Dad are going to write a brand new contract, and ultimately, life is going to get harder for me. So they'll fight tooth and nail and scratch and kick and scream and yell to not have to do what you've asked them to. And that's where we get kids that we can't teach. Because we're only willing to go so far. As teachers, we're not going to go into a child's room and we're not going to be willing to bite and scratch and kick them back to get them to touch the TV or to get them to eat things. So we have to have some other tools to our disposal.